Let's get into SOAPS. What do those 5 letters actually stand for? I'm showing you a blank graphic organizer that you could reproduce and use with all of your students, as we've talked about, depending on age level, ability level. It really does work for a variety of learning contexts. Up at the top, blank fillable areas where the student is just articulating what they're reading or watching or listening to, and the basic text information, so you have that at the ready in case you're doing this multiple times. Here's what the blank chart would look like. Nothing fancy, just has the acronym on the left, and I'm going to scroll down and actually talk through what each of these actually means in terms of analyzing nonfiction text. I know you know what these mean in life. So let's talk about speaker. The speaker, which is not always the author, usually is for purposes of working with students, especially younger students or K-12 students. But the speaker is the person talking through the text, or the voice that tells the story, as it says here. So you can teach into the idea that author and speaker are not the same, or you can just lead with who's the author, is that the primary speaker of this text? Because that's key, right? And that refers to positionality. So the key factor here is we need to know information about the speaker and his or her background, any credentials that the speaker has that would make this person an expert or a trusted or valued source, depending on what the subject is. It can also help determine bias. Then we move on to occasion. So speaker, occasion, and purpose all are intricately linked. Sometimes students struggle to understand what occasion is. Occasion refers to the time and place of the piece. So for example, this was written in the New York Times on April 15th, 2024. That's what a student will typically write under occasion the first time they try this. But what we have to coach them toward is what's the larger occasion? What's the exigence, we might say, in AP world, or the kairos? What gave rise in the world, in this speaker's life, what have you, to the speaker wanting to say what he or she is saying in this moment, via speech, via song, via video, via article, via op-ed. Okay, there's the historical context, there's local context. So all of this is what forms the occasion. And when we look at a model, you'll probably understand it a lot better. And that you'll definitely need to do that with your students as well. The purpose, the audience. For whom was this text produced? Is this a speech intended to be given at the Columbia University graduation? Is this a speech that was intended to be given at a political rally or protest? So who was that speaker intending to hear, watch, or listen, or read these words? And if you can nail down speaker, occasion, audience, it will all lead you to purpose as an analyst of nonfiction text. Purpose, we usually like to talk about the verbs being 4 key ones, right? Most texts will fall into 4 categories. Is this to inform, to persuade, to argue, or to entertain? Clearly, these mix and overlap, but remember, most standardized tests will ask what's the primary purpose, and usually we can discern the primary or main purpose of a text, even though, again, there might be overlap with inform, persuade, argue, or entertain. And so teaching students those at minimum 4 verbs and helping them understand how texts, again, may overlap or include multiple purposes, but still have a main focus is key in helping them break down nonfiction text. Finally, subject, pretty much what it looks like. Is this a text that's about therapy dogs? Is this a text that's about the New York Yankees? Is this a text that's about the new English standards in New Jersey? So just being able to articulate the subject in a word is important for students. So way before summary, can they just say, hey, this is what I just read about? And on a longer or more difficult text, it's not so easy. So working through all of these SOAPS is in and of itself a really possibly intimidating, but also rewarding exercise. And it's hard work. It involves a lot of thinking. So now let's put this into practice.